that the last recruitment exercise for soldiers, non-officers, so the soldiers go to the Army Recruit Training Schools and the various training schools, the officers will go to the Ghana Military Academy. So I'm done with the officer career. I'm now moving to the soldiers. It is important to report, let me repeat, at this stage, that the last recruitment exercise for soldiers, non-officers, was conducted in October 2021. However, the audit has revealed that 2,872 Army potential recruits who successfully completed all required processes, including documentation, medical examinations, and vetting, are yet to undergo training. Meanwhile, my visit to the Army Recruits Training School just last week disclosed the fact that the Army Recruit Training School has not been training recruits over the past 17 months. With a potential capacity for the Army Recruits Training School to train between 900 and 1,500 recruits every 6 months, a maximum of 3,000 every year, we wonder why the past administration allowed the situation of the 2,872 Army potential recruits to crystallize. Knowing that even healthy people die during military training, how can we rely on laboratory tests conducted years ago or over 6 months ago to recruit? How can we rely on body selection and fitness tests conducted years ago to inform recruitment decision now? Additionally, with the passage of time, many have exceeded the age limit. Keep in mind that the military is a profession and a vocation that entreats would-be trainees to abandon all hopes of normal life and imposes the doctrine of struggling is acceptable, dropping is acceptable, bleeding is acceptable, tears are acceptable, pain is acceptable, but quitting is unacceptable. This means once you enter, you can struggle, drop, bleed, shed liters of tears, suffer excruciating and unbearable pain, but in all these, quitting will not be entertained. Considering all these significant factors, it has been decided that a new recruitment process will be conducted. I wish to emphasize that there are over 2,000 potential recruits who could not undergo training under the previous administration, even though vacancies existed at the Army Recruit Training School, are strongly encouraged to reapply, provided they still meet all the established criteria. I urge those who will not qualify at this stage not to lose hope, be of good cheer, because within the 24-hour economy, other employment opportunities are being created. I'm excited to announce that, as has been communicated by the Commander-in-Chief, a comprehensive enlistment and recruitment exercise is to be undertaken with a view to increasing the manpower strength of the Ghana Armed Forces. Altogether, we are enlisting and recruiting 12,000 personnel within the next 3.5 years. Looking at the needs of the Ghana Armed Forces, and in particular the desire to build institutional capacity to support the ongoing drive towards industrialization and food security, future enlistment and recruitment exercises will also be targeting specific qualifications such as agri extension officers, artisans, engineers, biochemists, among others. Let me sound a note of warning that the Ghana Armed Forces has not contracted or delegated any individuals, organizations, or institutions to undertake any recruitment and enlistment exercise on its behalf. Furthermore, the Ministry of Defense seeks to support the Ghana Armed Forces to enhance the capabilities of the recruitment and enlistment portal ahead of the August-September 2025 manpower enhancement drive. The public is therefore advised to avoid fraudsters and scammers who pose as agents of the armed forces to recruit personnel. You engage them at your own risk. Report them to lawful authority. Joining the Ghana Armed Forces under President Mahama will be based solely on merit, not money. We seek to train soldiers who will not be in haste to provide guard duties for unauthorized persons. That era is over. The National Service Emergency Response Readiness Program. In fulfillment of a major promise by President Mahama, the National Service Emergency Response Readiness Program will begin in a few weeks. The basic military and emergency response training is a 6-week orientation training scheduled to run in 2 batches from August to October this year. 10,000 National Service volunteers are expected to kickstart this initiative with plans to increase the number substantially next year. They are volunteers. It's not compulsory. The areas of training will include basic military orientation, first aid, basic life support, disaster or fire management, nationalism and patriotism, loyalty and discipline, leadership, mentorship, and physical training, among others. The core objective of the program is to equip the national service personnel with the relevant skills in security, disaster preparedness, and public safety. It must be clear, however, that the training program is optional. Ladies and gentlemen, defense diplomacy, regional collaboration, and strategic outlook. In today's interconnected world, national defense can no longer be confined to borders. Security must be both local and global, tactical and diplomatic, responsive and anticipatory. Ghana understands this reality, and we are acting on it. Our approach to national security is anchored in a clear doctrine. To be secure at home, we must be engaged abroad. And that is exactly what we are committed to while remaining non-aligned. The Sahel crisis, maritime insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea, arms proliferation, and violent extremism and terrorism do not recognize borders, and so no nation can stand alone. The withdrawal of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger from ECOWAS, and the formation of the Alliance of Sahel States further weakens ECOWAS. Evidence suggests that over the past 5 years, there have been several successful coups and counter-coups in West Africa. Mali 2022, Mali 2021, Guinea 2021, Burkina Faso January 2022 and September 2022, and Niger 2023. We live in a volatile sub-region. That is why Ghana has prioritized regional defense cooperation, particularly through ECOWAS and joint military platforms. I must add that our Commander-in-Chief's visit to the Sahel region early this year has been reassuring. In a similar vein, under the leadership of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and in close coordination with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have deepened bilateral and multilateral military relations while showcasing Ghana's reliability, professionalism, and peace-first posture. Over the past half year, we have hosted high-level defense delegations from the United Kingdom, Brazil, China, Nigeria, the United States of America, France, and Turkey. We have signed new defense cooperation agreements, including intelligence sharing, logistics support, offer exchange programs, and arms control, and participated in strategic African Union and ECOWAS defense forums where Ghana has become a respected voice in shaping regional security frameworks. Leading on the global stage, peacekeeping with honor and excellence. Ghana continues to uphold its legacy as a beacon of international peacekeeping. Our blue helmets serve not just in large numbers, but with unmatched professionalism and honor, and the world has taken notice. Aside from the trailblazing role being played by Major General Anita Asma as UN Force Commander in Syria, Major General Robert Afram is also playing a key role within the UN peacekeeping setup. Let me also add that Squadron Leader Sharon Winslow Sam was recently awarded with the UN Military Gender Advocate of the Year, which further embodies our commitment to inclusivity, protection of vulnerable populations, and gender equity in conflict zones. Squadron Leader Sam, please rise and let us see you. Congratulations once again, Squadron Leader Sam. I spoke about illegal mining. We also have a Lance Corporal who was recently promoted out of 10 by the Chief of Defense Staff in the person of Lance Corporal Tay Chu. Please be upstanding. He resisted bribe from illegal miners, Galamsey operatives. Thank you very much. So, we still have very, very good men and women in our country. The Ghana Armed Forces is saturated with such talents. Ladies and gentlemen, I turn my attention to veterans, honoring our living heroes. Our veterans are the living testimonies of Ghana's bravery, resilience, and sacrifice. They are the men and women who once stood at the front lines at home and abroad so that our children could live in peace and our democracy could endure. And today, we must ensure that their service is never forgotten, their voices never silenced, and their dignity never compromised. We believe while we rightly celebrate our veterans' heroism, on various remembrance days, our gratitude must go beyond ceremony. Our gratitude must be seen in action and sustained through policy. To achieve this noble goal, we have launched a robust effort to uplift the welfare of veterans under the umbrella of the Veterans Administration, Ghana, VAG. Pay attention to the comma. 1. A new vibrant governing board has been inaugurated to oversee the administration of veterans. 2. Aggressive recovery of veterans' funds, lands, and assets is ongoing. 3. Veterans will also be prime beneficiaries of the Mahama Cares Health Financing Initiative that seeks to finance diabetes, hypertension, stroke, cancers, and kidney disease care. 4. Also completing the Afari Military Hospital and the Field Hospital in Tamale will take healthcare closer to veterans across the country than they have ever experienced. They will not have to be traveling from the northern part of the country to 37 Military Hospital in Accra. 5. In addition, dividends from the defense industry holding companies, DHOC, exploits will not only finance serving soldiers, but you hear me? Veterans will also have their equitable share. And if the serving officers on the board resist, remind them they will soon be veterans. To forget our veterans is to forget our values. Veterans are not relics of the past. They are pillars of our present and custodians of our history. The challenges we are confronting. Let me first acknowledge with candor the Ministry of Defense, like all critical institutions of state, inherited substantial constraints in January 2025, some of which continue to test our resolve daily. We inherited a staggering institutional debt burden of over 3.7 billion Ghana cedis. Debt that was recently uncovered by the current military high command of over 32 million US dollars, owed by the Ghana Armed Forces. These legacy debts continue to constrain our ability to invest adequately in critical defense priorities and warfare infrastructure. Alongside this, we are contending with a 17,000 unit accommodation deficit for our brave men and women in uniform. These are not just figures. They are realities that affect operational readiness, troop morale, and the dignity of service. Let me assure you, these are not lamentations. They reaffirm our determination to resolve these problems, first by acknowledging that they exist, and deciding that never again should the government mismanage the nation's economy to this depressing level. We are fixing the challenges. Our well-designed programs are working. Concluding, I want you to remember 15 key points. Modernization. 1 billion investment to modernize Ghana Armed Forces over 3.5 years. New equipment, advanced tactical vehicles, body armor, and digital communication systems for the Army. Maritime enhancement, enhanced patrol vessels and radar integration for the Navy. Air Force upgrade, new air assets, including UAVs for the Ghana Air Force to operate effectively. Accommodation, construction of 10,000 housing units across all garrisons. Enlistment and recruitment, increasing the manpower strength of the Ghana Armed Forces by 12,000 over the next 3.5 years. Strategic partnerships, strengthening bilateral and multilateral alliances, defense industrialization, enhancing local production through DHOC, Reset Ghana agenda, aligning defense strategy with national development goals, security challenges, addressing threats, chieftaincy, galamsey, violent extremism with foresight and readiness, climate security, preparing for floods, droughts, and food security, gender inclusion, promoting diversity and inclusion in the armed forces, veterans welfare, ensuring the well-being of veterans, Mahama Cares, more health facilities, and additional funding from DHOC. 14, national service, training 10,000 youth in disaster preparedness and patriotism. Last but not least, 15, unity and progress, emphasizing collective responsibility and unity for Ghana's progress. Ladies and gentlemen, as we stand at the threshold of a new era, the Mahama Second Coming, and resetting Ghana, let us remember that our strength lies in not just our arms, but in our unity, our resilience, and our unwavering commitment to Ghana's progress. Today, we have outlined a vision for a modernized, industrialized, and inclusive defense sector that serves as a beacon of hope and stability in our region. Let us march forward together with the Ghana Armed Forces as our guardians of peace and architects of prosperity. Let us uphold the sacred covenant to protect every Ghanaian and propel our nation towards a safer, stronger, and more prosperous future. As we close this chapter and embark on the next, let us recognize that defense goes beyond the boots, barracks, and borders, because defense affects everything. Security is the seedbed of progress. Let our guiding principles be one Ghana, one destiny. May God bless our beloved homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Citizen TV, Accra, Ghana. Citizen TV, the citizen's power.